Happy Sunday, everyone. Today, I am clearly not in church. I really needed to look my parishioners in the eye while giving my homily this weekend, so I decided not to film any of the masses, but I still wanted to get the homily out there, so I'm making an exception today. I'm going to film the homily here at home. Here we go, for the 13th Sunday of Ordinary Time. They say that a preacher should talk about dark, serious topics at least once a year, because uncomfortable topics need to be aired out every once in a while. That makes us better equipped to deal with them, as opposed to pretending that they don't exist or are inconsequential. Last week, someone I know took his own life. And we are all shocked. Every single one of us, absolutely shocked. No warning signs whatsoever. He intentionally put up a brave face whenever he was in public. I mean, he made it his mission to not let anyone know what was going on. But inside, he was dealing with some pretty heavy stuff. His wife let us know, after the fact, she let us know that he would say things like, he truly believed that he was absolutely worthless. And that, frankly, sounds like a symptom of clinical depression. Now, I've never had that. I don't know what it feels like. I've never experienced it. But if he's been saying that, the smart money is that clinical depression was definitely part of the process somewhere. Now, clinical depression as a factor notwithstanding, I'm still kind of upset with him, because this means that he's failed to understand just how much we all love him. We all love him. I mean, the guy had 8 siblings. 8 siblings, and they were close. There was no shortage of people in his life who thought the world of him. To quote an Irish show from the 1980s, there was enough love in the world for him to light up the sun. So, how is it possible, I ask you? How is it possible that someone can fail to understand something so basic and so important? What is it about us as people that lead us to that terrible conclusion that life itself is not significant? Why do we constantly come to the terrible conclusion that our actions are meaningless or inconsequential? Those two conclusions are flatly wrong. They are false. There is great meaning and significance in our lives and within our very actions. The things that we do in life spread out in all directions to all the people we know, love, and interact with. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but it always matters. So we should never come to the conclusion that our actions are meaningless or consequence-free. And we should never have the attitude that our lives are purposeless. It is simply not true. I believe that the good things that we do for each other, they are more important than we commonly recognize. And every one of you viewing this now, every single one of you out there, I say with zero sarcasm in my voice, you have the capacity to prevent this kind of tragedy in the life of another. And I can prove it. I can give you a very real world example to what I'm talking about here. Jimmy Doohan is he was the actor that played Scotty on Star Trek, the original series. And if I'm not mistaken, he died around 2005. But being a celebrity, he had a number of interviews off and on, some of them rather late into his life. Once the Alzheimer's hit, he couldn't do that anymore. But still, he had interviews well into his life. And I saved a little picture on my master photo, library from a little snippet of one of his interviews. And this is what he said. He said, "One day, I got a fan letter from a young lady. It was a suicide note. So I called her, and I said, 'Hi, this is Jimmy Doohan, Scotty, from Star Trek. I'm doing a convention in Indianapolis next month, and I want to see you there.' Someone had to do something for her. Someone had to help her somehow. 8 years later, I get a letter saying, 'I want to thank you for all that you've done for me.' That, to me, is the best thing that I've done in my life." I have trouble reading that without crying. I have safely memorized it at this point. That is so beautiful, that is so sweet. And you would think that his greatest contribution in life would have been his participation in one of the most meaningful, long-lasting programs in the history of television. That would have been a very understandable assumption. But it's not true. It's not true. Reaching out and saving one life was more significant than any other achievement in his life. Wow. We need more of that. We do. We need more of that in the world to counteract all the hate and despair and doubt and cynicism that just sweeps the globe, every generation, every era of history. We need more of that in the world. Because you know what? Faith really does make the world a better place. When you're not using it as a vehicle for your pride, when you're not making it all about yourself. Compassion, real compassion, really does make the world a better place. As long as it's not fake compassion that you extend for some political cause. There's a lot of that going around right now. And you will know that your faith and your compassion are the real deal when you reach out to someone in need of humanity. Not in need of medication, not in need of tax breaks, not in need of permission to do or not do one thing or another. Beyond all of that, I'm talking about reaching out to someone in need of something that only you can give. Humanity, respect for life, a tiny drop of the divine love that God has for us all through Jesus Christ. I will say to you now, the evidence is there. That single drop of divine mercy is most certainly enough to save a life. Don't forget that, and believe in yourself.